Hello students and namaste everyone. I am Dhaval sir and our today's topic is your literature part, that is from your textbook Beehive chapter number 2 part 2. Right, first part we have already done, that is Evelyn Glennie, right? And the second part is the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. Okay, so whenever we hear about Shehnai, the first thing what comes to our mind is the marriage ceremony, right? Because in our marriages we always or usually we or frequently we hear Shehnai, right? Then there are different occasions like a thread ceremony. Then, in such kind of ceremonies, we always hear the sound or the music of Shehnai, and with the word Shehnai is the name connected or joined, which is Bismillah Khan, right? So, Ustad Bismillah Khan is the Shehnai maestro. Maestro means he is an expert in playing Shehnai. Okay. Now we'll start with the first paragraph. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of musical instrument called pungi. Right, what is pungi? I've given the picture over here. On the left hand side it is pungi and on the right hand side it is shehnai. Okay, so this both the instruments we are familiar with. The snake charmers usually they use this pungi. Okay, and this shehnai is usually used during wedding occasions or ceremonies. Fine. Okay, so he banned the playing of musical instrument called pungi in the royal residence, for it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. Right, so we all have heard the pungi also. The emperor Aurangzeb banned it. That means no one was supposed or allowed to play pungi in the court of Aurangzeb. Okay, why? Because it had a very shrill, unpleasant sound, the sound which we all don't like to hear. Okay, so he did not allow any people, that means he banned pungi. Okay, pungi became the generic name for reeded noisemakers. Few had thought that it would one day be revived, so those people who used to play pungi thought that once again a time will come when this pungi will be played everywhere. A barber of a family of professional musicians who had access to the royal palace, means there was a barber's family who used to play music in the royal court of Aurangzeb, decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. Why it was banned? The reason for that, it was its unpleasant sound. So what they thought, that we'll try to make some improvisation, we'll try to make some changes in the pungi, and we'll try to create a new sound which is pleasant or which is good enough for the listening. Okay, so they decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem. Hollow means we have seen the bamboo stick and inside it there is nothing, that means it is hollow. Okay, so he decided to take a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than the pungi, and made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. Right, when he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. Okay, so we have seen the pungi, there are holes in that, and this way the sound is created, okay, by closing and opening of the holes. So below the paragraph even I have given you the different hard words. Okay, so you can go through each and every hard word. Fine, we'll move to the next paragraph. He played the instrument before royalty and everyone was impressed. The instrument was so different from the pungi, had to be given a new name. So as you can see in the picture, one side, on the left hand side it is pungi and on the right hand side it is shehnai. Right, so the shehnai is the improvised version, okay, of pungi. So it we can see that it is totally a different kind of instrument. So what they decided, that it should be given a new name. Okay, as the story goes, since it was first placed in the Shah's chamber, okay, and was played by a nai. Nai means barber. So the instrument was named Shehnai. Okay, Shah plus nai, that is Shehnai. Fine. So this is how the instrument with new or improved tonal quality got its name. Okay. The sound of the Shehnai began to be considered auspicious. Auspicious means promising to bring good fortune, right? So all the occasions means marriage ceremonies or the birth of the child or the thread ceremony, all these uh, occasions are auspicious. Auspicious means they promise us to bring us good fortune, right? And the sound of Shehnai, that means whenever at any place Shehnai is played, it is understood that something good, something auspicious is taking place. And for this reason, it is still played in temples and is an indispensable component of any North Indian wedding. Indispensable means without which a piece of work cannot be done. So all the marriages which are taking place in the northern part of India, in each and every marriage, Shehnai is played compulsorily, means without it the marriage is incomplete. Okay. In the past, the Shehnai was part of the Nobat or traditional ensemble. So Nobat, right, it is a group of 9 different instruments. I have written the meaning. An old royal instrumental ensemble dating back to about 16th century, played exclusively for important court ceremonies. Alright, so as I said that Nobat is a group of instruments which are played only for the special or important people in the court. Okay, so what is given, that Shehnai was the part of the Nobat or traditional ensemble. Okay, it is pronounced as ensemble, that means things or here instruments considered as a group. So that I have already explained that Shehnai also became the part of that group. Okay, Nobat. So what is written, traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at the royal court. So among those 9 instruments, Shehnai is one of them. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. The credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. Right, so this thing was heard only in the temples, only during the wedding ceremonies, but later on this instrument was taken to the higher level, that is at the classical stage. It was considered as a classical instrument of India, and the whole credit for its include means it got included in the classical instrument is Ustad Bismillah Khan. Okay, as a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played gilli danda near a pond in the ancient estate of Domron in Bihar. So you might be aware of the game which is known as gilli danda. Okay, so in that there is a big stick and a small gilli is there which is played. Okay, so what is told that when he was 5 years old, he used to play gilli danda, okay, near a pond in the ancient estate of Domron in Bihar. He would regularly go to the nearby Bihariji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita. So Chaita are semi-classical songs, right? So he used to go to the temple and he used to sing Chaita over there. At the end of which he would earn a big laddu, right? So he used to sing song. He got gift for that, and the gift was a laddu, a very big laddu, and the weight of which was 1.25 kg, one laddu. Okay, a prize given by the local Maharaj. This happened 80 years ago, and the little boy has travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, that is the Bharat Ratna. So what is told that Bismillah Khan, he has achieved the highest civilian award which is named Bharat Ratna. Okay, Born on 21st March 1916, Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. So his whole family was involved in the musical instruments or playing of the music. His grandfather, Rasul Bucks Khan, was the Shehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpur King's Court. Right, that means he was the Shehnai Nawaz. That means he used to play Shehnai in the royal court of Bhojpur. His father, Paigambar Bucks, and other paternal ancestors. Paternal means on the side of the father. Right, so I have written ancestors of father, that is paternal. Paternal ancestors were also great Shehnai players. Okay. The young boy took to music early in life. That means at the very early age, Bismillah Khan had started playing the music. Means he had very much interest in the music from the very early age. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house, maternal uncle means mama, in Banaras, now that is Varanasi, Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncles practice the Shehnai. Right, so his uncle also, that is his mamas, also practiced Shehnai, and Bismillah Khan got fascinated. That means he was very much impressed or attracted towards Shehnai. Soon, Bismillah started accompanying his uncle Ali Bucks to the Vishnu temple of Banaras, where Bucks was employed to play the Shehnai. That means his uncle, he used to play Shehnai at the Vishnu temple of Banaras. Ali Bucks would play the Shehnai and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. Captivated means attracted or magnetized. So whenever the Shehnai was played, he was always attracted towards it for hours on end. On end means for a very, very long period of time, right, without stopping. Slowly, he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. That means he started learning Shehnai and he used to practice Shehnai for the whole days. Okay. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangla Maiya and the banks of the Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunts. So apprentice means a person who learns a job or skill by working for a fixed period of time from a skilled employer. That means a person who is learning new thing from a person who is already expert or good at it. Right, so who is learning is known as apprentice. So what is told that this place is, right, became, okay, again I'll read out, that is the temple of Balaji, Mangla Maiya, and on the banks of Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunts. Haunts means here place, right, meaning of haunt is different, but here it means place where he could practice in solitude. Solitude means privacy. That means these were the places where he went and there were very few people over there, and due to it he liked to practice over there in solitude. Solitude means in privacy, no one was there to disturb him. Okay. The flowing water of the Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas. So ragas are the different tones of this is the word ragas is associated with music. That means at different time of the day, different tonal or different music is played, which is known as raga, that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of Shehnai. Right, so different instruments are there, and we know that to some extent it can be played, beyond that it cannot go. But Bismillah Khan was a person who even went beyond the range of Shehnai. That means he produced such a different kind of tone and voice in Shehnai that no one else could do it. Okay. At the age of 14, Bismillah accompanied his uncle to the Allahabad Music Conference. Right, at the end of his recital means a musical performance. Okay, whose musical performance? Here we are talking about his uncle. Ustad Fayaz Khan patted the young boy's back and said, "Work hard and you shall make it." You shall make it means, that means one day you will master this Shehnai. So keep on practicing it. With the opening of the All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah's big break. Big break means he got a big chance, right? He soon became an often heard Shehnai player on radio. That means he got a chance to play Shehnai on radio, and so that all the people all over India or wherever the radio was played, he could be heard, and therefore he became very famous. When India gained independence on 15th August 1947, Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to greet the nation with his Shehnai. That means he was the first person who greeted the people of India. That means he wished the people of India good luck by playing his Shehnai. He poured his heart out into Rag Kafi from the Red Fort to an audience which included Mahatma Gandhi and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who later gave his famous Tyrist with Destiny speech. That means when India got freedom, the first speech was given at a Red Fort, right? And Ustad Bismillah Khan was the person who played his Shehnai at Red Fort in front of Gandhiji, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and other famous leaders. And after his Shehnai was played, the first president or the first prime minister of India, that is Jawaharlal Nehru, gave his famous Tryst with Destiny speech. Tryst with Destiny speech means what? So I'll just read out the meaning. It was the speech, as I have told, that which was delivered by Jawaharlal Nehru, the first prime minister of independent India, to the Indian Constituent Assembly in the parliament, right? And the meaning of the phrase "tryst with destiny" means destined to happen, right? Destined to happen means the speech was such which meant that independence of India was destined to happen. So that was a speech given by Jawaharlal Nehru. Bismillah Khan has given many memorable performances both in India and abroad. Abroad means foreign countries. His first trip abroad was to Afghanistan, where King Zahir Shah was so taken in by the maestro that he gifted him priceless Persian carpets and other souvenirs. So, who was the king? King Zahir Shah was taken in. Taken in means he was so much impressed by the playing of Shehnai by Bismillah Khan that he gave him priceless. Priceless means which cannot be counted with money, right? So priceless Persian carpets were given as a gift, and other sovereigns. Sovereigns means mementos. Okay, I've written the meaning. Maestro means an expert or a master. The king of Afghanistan was not the only one to be fascinated with Bismillah's music. Film director Vijay Bhatt was so impressed after hearing Bismillah play at a festival that he named a film after the instrument called Gunj Uthi Shehnai. Right, so this was a movie which was titled Gunj Uthi Shehnai. The film was a hit and one of Bismillah Khan's compositions. Compositions means the song which he had composed. Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya turned out to be a nationwide chartbuster. Chartbuster means record breaker. Okay. Despite his huge success in the celluloid world, celluloid means old-fashioned way of referring to films. So in olden days, it was as in the today's world we use film stars, films, Bollywood. In the same way, in those days, the word was used as celluloid word. Okay, celluloid world. Bismillah Khan's ventures means projects that often involve risk. So Bismillah Khan's ventures in the film music were limited to two. That means through this line it is said that he only worked in two films, right? And the first one was Vijay Bhatt's Gunjuti Chennai, and second one was Vikram Srinivasa's Kannada venture, that is Sanadi Appana. Okay, so these were the two different movies. I just can't come to terms with the artificiality and glamour of the film world. So what he's trying to say, he says with emphasis, that means he says that he was free, and means he cannot create artificial glamour. He didn't want to go in the artificial glamour of the Bollywood or film industry, therefore he didn't continue working over there. Okay, awards and recognition came thick and fast, right? So thick and fast means immediately, right? Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to be invited to perform at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall in the United States of America. He also took part in the World Exposition in Montreal. Montreal is a city in Canada. In the Cannes, Cannes is a city in France. So in the Cannes Art Festival and in the Osaka Trade Fair. Osaka means it is the name of a city in Japan. So well known did he become internationally that an auditorium in Tehran, Tehran is the name of a country, was named after him. Okay, so Tehran is a country, and in that country one auditorium was named after Bismillah Khan. So the name was given as Tahir Mosik Ustad Bismillah Khan. Okay. Next, national awards like the Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, and the Padma Vibhushan were conferred on him. Conferred means given, usually as an award or a degree. That means these awards are very very precious, right? So it is given only to few of the people of India, right? So he received all these different awards. In 2001, Ustad Bismillah Khan was awarded India's highest civilian award. Which is the India's highest civilian award? That is Bharat Ratna. Okay, with the coveted award. Coveted means much desired. That means he also wished or desired that a time will come when he will get the Bharat Ratna award. So it was very much awaited by him. So with the coveted award resting on his chest, that means when he is given the award he keeps like this, right? Resting on his chest and his eyes glinting with rare happiness. Glinting means there was a kind of emotion in his eyes, right? A shine. Okay, a shine of happiness. So what is said, that glinting with rare happiness, he said, all I would like to say is, teach your children music. This is Hindustan's richest tradition. Even the West is now coming to learn our music. So he just spoke these few precious words, that each and every parent should teach their children music, and our Hindustani music is so famous that even the people from foreign countries, that is from the West, they are coming to learn our music. In spite of having traveled all over the world, Khan Sahab is the name which is means lovingly called to Bismillah Khan. So Khan Sahab, as he is fondly called, fondly means in a loving way, is exceedingly fond of Banaras. Exceedingly means extremely. So here it is talked about Bismillah Khan, that Bismillah Khan is extremely fond of Banaras and Dumron, and they remained for him the most wonderful towns of the world. That means those were the places which he would never like to leave away. A student of his once wanted him to head a Shehnai school in the USA. That means one of his student told him that you become the principal or the expert teaching at the school in USA, and the student promised to recreate the atmosphere of Banaras by replicating the temples there. Replicating means to repeat or copy something exactly. Why he did say like this? Because as we read in the lines before, that Bismillah Khan was so fond of Banaras and Dumron that he would never leave those places, right? And his demand was very much in the foreign countries, right? So his student, one of his students said that, sir, you come over this place that is in America, and we will create a kind of atmosphere which is similar to, replicating means which is similar to Banaras. But Khan Sahib asked him if he would be able to transport river Ganga as well, right? So what Bismillah Khan said is that, okay, I don't mind coming over there. You will be able to create the, uh, as you are saying that you will be able to create the atmosphere of Banaras. But is it possible for you to bring the river Ganga, right? Because in the beginning of the chapter we have seen that through the flowing water of Ganga, he was able to create the tunes which were beyond the range of Shehnai. Okay, fine. Later he is remembered to have said, that is why whenever I am in a foreign country, I keep yearning. Yearning means to desire. That means something which we want extremely bad, or something which we cannot live without, right? So I keep yearning to see Hindustan. What is saying, whenever I am in a foreign country, I am yearning to see Hindustan. While in Mumbai, I think of only Banaras and the holy Ganga. And while in Banaras, I miss the unique Matha of Dumron. Okay, so what he's saying, that whenever I am in a foreign country, I think about India. Whenever I am in India and a place like Mumbai, I think about Banaras. And whenever I am in a Banaras, I think about the Matha. Matha is the place or a temple where people usually go to worship. So I think, or I miss the unique Matha of Dumron, right? So these are the words by Bismillah Khan. Okay. Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example of the rich cultural heritage of India, one that effortlessly accepts that a devote means behaving strongly in a religion and obeying its laws and following its practices. That means he was a pure Muslim, who always followed the religion very strictly, right? So he is a perfect example. Why? Because one that effortlessly accepts that a devout Muslim like him can very naturally play the Shehnai every morning at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. So though he was a Muslim, right, even though his love for music made him play Shehnai every day morning at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. Okay, so last paragraph we'll see. Ustad Bismillah Khan passed away, that means he died, on 2nd August 2006 at the age of 90 after a prolonged illness. Prolonged means which continued for a long time. He was given a state funeral. State funeral means all the important people and person from the states had gathered over there, and the government of India declared one day of national mourning. So here it is not mourning, it is mourning. That means great sadness felt because someone has died. So that's it about Ustad Bismillah Khan and Shehnai. Right, so we end our lecture over here. Okay, I hope so. My videos are helpful to you, and thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching my video. We'll meet in our next lecture. Till then, stay healthy and stay safe.